having a musical morning here on Good Morning Sri Lanka today, and in the studio I have with me Sohan Veerasinghe and Noeline Hunter, and they've been dishing on some of the experiences that they've had together, and we've actually heard them sing together. So that was that was a great performance, it really was. But going from music to your other career, which is of course being a television personality. Now I'm sure that you have some anecdotes that you can share with us about your times.
I'll just I'll tell you about some were funny, some were not so funny. Let me start with the not so funny one. Actually, one day I was on air, I was presenting the news, and this was the time when we had a lot of strife in the country, terrorism and various other things. And then I was presenting live news, and I was on camera. And as you may know, the studio door never opens when you're on live, right? Suddenly the studio door opened, I was on camera, looking into the camera and presenting the news. And with the corners of my eyes, I could see some people walking into the studio with guns.
I see.
Okay, and they were holding it like this, of course. It was not they were not pointed at me, but they came and lined the studio walls on both sides. And as you know, when you're a presenter and you're doing a program live, you can't show your audience that there's anything untoward happening in the studio.
It's like from a James Bond movie, right?
It does. Yeah. It sounds very
dramatic. And even when I train presenters, I tell them you have to have nerves of steel, which I had to really have that day. So I kept doing what I was doing, but I was a bit flustered. Didn't show it though. And then I finished that segment, which was a long segment on camera.
I see.
And then immediately, as soon as I finished, the producer called me from the sub-control room, and he said, "Don't worry, Hunter." He used to call me Hunter. He said, "Don't worry, Hunter. These are soldiers. They've come to guard the studio because there's been a threat to the studio."
Oh, I see.
And that was even worse because I was expecting to be shot or bombed out in view of millions of the Sri Lankan public. But anyway, I had to do the program, so I did it. And that's how, those are some of the experiences I've had. Then, of course, there have been
funny anecdotes.
Funny things. For example, one day I was working with another channel, and I was in the studio. This channel has the studios closer to the marsh. And fortunately, I was recording it. So I was looking into the camera and speaking and presenting the program. And suddenly, with the corner of my eye, I could see some movement on the bottom there. And when I looked up, it was a water monitor in the studio, a Talagoya.
Oh, wow.
In the studio, and he was very close to me. So fortunately, we stopped the recording, got rid of the guy. So, there have been funny instances, and there have been very serious stuff as well.
But you have to be on your toes all the time.
I've enjoyed all of it. In fact, there was another serious occasion when I was I think the first female presenter to go to the strife-torn areas during the time that we had terrorism in the country, and I went to Mullaitivu. We went by helicopter. I didn't even tell my husband I was going. When he heard about it, he was really in shock. He said, "Don't go." But I called him just before I left the place that we were taking off from. So
now you know why she's called
need to know basis.
Why she's called the Iron Lady. Now you know.
My gosh, yes.
So then we went there, and so I had to interview a guy from Holland, a man from Holland whose house had been broken by the terrorists. And so, I had to go and interview this gentleman. And so we went through the town of Mullaitivu, and we had to wear our jackets, and the helmets and all of that. And there were two vehicles, one in front of us, one behind us, with armed soldiers, and we were in the next one with armed soldiers again. So we went to this location, and I was talking to this Dutch person, and after that I told the team, "Let's start." And then my recordist tells me, I'm sorry, very sheepishly, that he has left the cassette back at the army camp.
Oh no.
Yes. So then all these guys had to go back together. Of course, I was left there with one of the jeeps and some of the soldiers, and these guys went back, and brought the tape for us to start the recording. So I've had so many experiences, mainly on television, lots of experiences, and some of them really good. I was at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in 1987, and there I interviewed some really top leaders, world leaders like Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady.
Yeah, the Iron Lady.
One Iron Lady meeting another Iron Lady.
Rajiv Gandhi. Then this Mahathir Mohamad from Malaysia.
He's called the Iron Man.
And the Australian
Nothing anemic about these interviews.
So, I've had really good experiences, and I think those are experiences that I would never have got if I didn't get into the channel, the channel that I was in, and also, if I didn't get into this kind of work, and also if I didn't have God's blessings.
I was just going to go into the turn that your music took for the spiritual side, but before that, you will be singing a song for us on today's show. So
Yes,
I think
actually,
we should get into.
You were just bringing up the subject of spiritual music and all that. I now do a lot of gospel music as well, and so I'd like to take a song from that repertoire and sing it for our audience today.
A very popular song. So
yes, it is. It's actually a classic among the gospel songs.
An amazing song.
Yes, it is.
Song, an amazing lady
and an amazing thought behind it as well.
So let's listen to the song now.
Okay.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. I was blind, oh, but now I see. 'Twas grace that brought my heart to fear, and grace my fear relieved. How precious is that grace appeared the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. His grace has brought me safe thus far, and His grace will lead me home. Oh, His grace will lead me home.
Wow, that really brought the house down, I think. And so
Thank you.
music took a turn for the spiritual side sometime
Yes,
back.
it is.
And is music
because actually being involved in that has really changed my life, and I think even Sohan might mention that,
Yeah.
and he will understand.
From an Iron Lady, she became a very soft, understanding lady.
Yes, I think it's really changed
She
me.
became a caring lady.
Yes, so I must say all my thanks and praise to God for that.
Of course, and there are so many blessings that we have in our lives, and I'm sure that even you've experienced that in your music as well, so that's a great thing.
Yes.
And going on to some other ladies, iron ladies or caring ladies or any other ladies that you like performing with, Sohan,
Actually,
besides Noeline.
no, Noeline, Dalrine, Mignon,
Corinne.
Yasmin, Corinne, the whole lot. Actually, I
Then earlier you performed with Judy.
with Judy, I
and
performed with
Estelle.
Estelle, all of them. It's been fun because I try to, whenever I perform with a lady, especially I try to bring in some laughter or some excitement to make it memorable. So it's been fun working with all of them.
But of course, there have been ladies in the audience who've been crazy about listening
I
to
am
Sohan.
very sure that that's correct.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah.
And especially when you start singing something like Engelbert or Elvis. And
I
sure
remember
that-
you used to sing a song, the Kenny Rogers song, Lady. And all these
yes.
ladies looked into his eyes when he was singing it.
so he could
But I
really-
did remember doing a Tom Jones song. Normally when Tom Jones does a song like Delilah, ladies throw various garments at him. I tried this song, but no luck.
No luck. Oh, but maybe you should try it again sometime soon. And now that if someone sees the show, they'll come especially for your show
Yeah.
and then throw something on stage. But that will be a great experience.
Okay.
When you speak about the so many audiences that you've performed to, what are some of the experiences, audience-wise, that have really stood out for you?
I really enjoyed performing mostly in Australia.
Yes.
Because I feel the audiences, they are very receptive to
They're
our music.
very receptive and
Yeah.
they're really warm.
Warm,
and you feel good. See, when the audience, when you can move an audience, that's when you feel you've made it.
And there's a lot of nostalgia, no?
That's
Attached,
right,
and they
yes.
love Sri Lanka, all the expats out there. So I from all the places I performed, and I
That's
think
right.
Noli will agree,
Australia.
Australia is definitely the best.
Definitely.
And there are so many
Especially-
Sri Lankans in Australia at the moment.
Especially Melbourne, they have about
in
80,000 Sri
Melbourne. I
Lankans.
see.
So I think your daughter is still there,
Yes,
right?
that's right. Yes, my daughter is in Melbourne. She lives there.
Oh, I see. So
Yeah.
that's great. Then so Australia is a great place to perform for.
Yes, it's like home for me now.
But I always prefer to go by plane than by boat.
Yes.
There we go. A line worth
always,
remembering
yes.
for anybody. All right, so it's been really great to have you on the show. I'm afraid that that's all the time we have, but I think it's been a great show, and we've heard so many songs and shared some of your stories with the viewers, things they may know and things they may not know. So it's been
Yes.
great having you here this morning, and I hope you
Amaya.
enjoyed
Thank you,
yourselves as
Amaya.
well.
Very
Thank
much.
you. It's been a pleasure, actually. And you're such a warm personality. We warmed to you, so thank you very much.
Thank you. That I really appreciate that coming from you. So it's been a great show here on Good Morning Sri Lanka, and we've had a great time. We hope you've had a great time as well. Do tune in next Monday as well for another great episode. But before that, log on to Facebook and like us on our Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com/Good Morning Sri Lanka, and give us your feedback at mtvsports@maharaja.lk. So that's a wrap for us today. But do stay tuned next Monday as well for another great show. Have a good morning.